morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, YouTube viewers. Good morning, Facebook Nation. Good morning to all people, all colors, all races, all languages around the world, no matter where you are. Good morning. And for whatever goals that you have set forth for yourself on this day, may those goals come to fruition, and may those goals entail the benefit of all of humanity. So we're going to get right into it. I did a video yesterday, and the video that I posted was based on the LA District Attorney who, threw a light sentence on a child molester who is also a pedophile. So he gave him a light sentence, and the child molester, long story short, made a joke out of it. Said that, nothing would happen, and, he's good with, what happened. Literally just walked away, laughed about it. So this district attorney that you see in the picture, he made the statement to say, well, if he had known, well, I have to say thank you for, the LA County Justice Department, where, another assistant DA spoke up to say, wait a minute, he knew when he did this. So the statement that he made was false. And this is how change begins, because what I tried to do with my videos is to say, which is the title of this video, is that that the power of one voice, or the power of a voice, is how change begins. Because we have to speak up for what is right, and that sometimes just being one voice, you lose everything. Because I put it as the mouse and the elephant, where the mouse is saying to the giant elephant, please don't step on me. So these are the doors that we find when we say, hey, I don't like the way that I've been treated, or hey, this happened to me, or hey, what are you going to do about this? And then people say, oh yeah, well, we'll look into it. And the whole time long, it's all condoned behavior. So I want to start off today with news KTLA 5 out of Los Angeles, where yesterday they arrested assistant principals of a high school, and the assistant principal, David Yang, and Natasha Harris. Now you would say to yourself, this is a woman. Now you have a young woman coming in, and it was more than one girl who reported that she was sexually assaulted in this school. And now here you have a woman who's aware of it. And we said, you heard me say in my earlier videos that women are nurturers by nature. But now I question that reality. I believe that, everything is corrupt. But at the same time, because the power of a voice, that shows that, there are good people. And we can go into, we say that, our justice systems are corrupt, our law enforcement systems are corrupt. Well, there's bad people all over. And, for anyone who's watching that are in these realms, and you hear me talk about the medical field, I'm not talking about all, but the majority, when you're up at the top and you cover up these things, it says that it's corrupt. So the one or two good people to say, hey, you know what? And now we're going to get to go back to the KTLA. Someone from the school board, contact one of the parents and said, you know what? They're just stringing you along. They didn't even contact the police. And when they reported that the first student was victimized, this was in September of 21. And when other students started to get victimized by the same student who the school knew about, which was reported in September, nothing happened until February 22nd of 22. So this kid just now is getting arrested, nor was it ever reported to the police. So it was a whistleblower within the school system that, let these people know, hey, look, you have to do something. And these are people who represent what true justice is all about. This is what makes people, for these municipalities, this is what makes that system true. But these systems have been corrupted. So I just want to say thank you, to KTLA 5 for your investigation, not giving up on these people, and listening where nobody else would, where the school system tried to bury it. And by the way, David Yang and Natasha Harris arrested. First-degree child abuse. Thank you so much, KTLA, for what you've done. Now, we want to show you that on this channel that these things are not just specific to one area. The world right now is bad. So now we're going to go to Mobile, Alabama. And this is out of Fox News 10. And the woman that you see, her name is Nia Bradley. So she just happened to be one of the heads of the water department out of Mobile. So, back years ago, I'd say around 2018, complaints started filing to say, look, why are our water bills, why are bills skyrocketing and just jumping and going out of control? And nobody listened, nobody cared. nobody, everything was everything, and hey, Nia Harris, she's in a position. Who's gonna stand away from her? Probably the people that they were making the complaints to was probably somebody that Nia Bradley put into position. They're not going to go against her. So now we see that, through these complaints where the power of one voice who said, you know what, I'm going to keep complaining, I'm going to keep making noise, I'm going to keep speaking up, and I'm going to keep up with this truth. And then more people started speaking and say, wait a minute, my bill just jumped as well, and it's still climbing. What's going on? So these voices were heard. The federal agents came in and they arrested Nia Bradley for stealing over $200,000, and yet they said that there is more arrests to be made in the investigation. So this isn't circulated to be one person. So this tells us that, things are bad and people are taken advantage of. But why I put this case up for all of you is, now think of the parent who's maybe a single parent or a single dad raising his kids or her kids, and you got these skyrocketing bills and they're out of control. You need water. So your job isn't paying you enough to, pay off this bill. Now you have the kids who, they have less. So they're like, hey, let's go out to the streets. So these are all the cycles to make things into what they are. See, we never look at the big picture. We only look at, hey, these kids are in trouble. These kids are on the street. Well, hey, you got water bills and you got these things out of control because you got corruption in a water system that is literally bankrupting people from, trying to make a living, which takes effect on the family. So Nia Bradley, I'm so happy, I'm thankful for you, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, for going after these people. And Nia Bradley, you should be ashamed of yourself, because one of the spendings that she used their money for was Louis Vuitton. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Louis Vuitton bags. Does that have to do with a corporate account? But hey, we live in this world, and like we say, privilege is not one color. Privilege is not one-dimensional, because you see that these are all people of all different races doing different things, but they're doing it through their positions of privilege, which carries weight when it comes to you or I to stand up against that elephant in the room, saying, please stop stepping on me. So thank you for the people of Mobile for speaking up and continuing to speak up in the face of everything that came forward. And for you, the viewers who latch on, share this video, as well as speak about it, and understand that things that you might be going through in your own personal life, this is a system. And once you understand the system, you can say, you know what, now I understand. That I'm not gonna allow myself to continue to stress on this. I'm just gonna open up the next door, and sooner or later, you'll get the results that you want. And it may not be you. And the one thing that a voice does is a voice leaves a paper trail. And me speaking personally for an issue that I am going through and have gone through since 2017, 2018, I'm still in the process of speaking up. Doors are closing, but now some of these doors are starting to squeak open just a little bit. And it's not because of me, it's because of someone else out there who might have had more money, and they might have been able to get a lawyer. And one of the things that I found is that my complaint didn't stand alone. But the thing is, it's going to take the right attorney, which they know that by doing these things, by using it, they know that these people, the poor people, don't have money for attorneys. So they know that when we report things, they say, well, it's a civil matter, go and get an attorney. But then they run into the right person, or, right person, and they end up having that link to get that attorney. And then that attorney puts all these things together and say, hey, can I talk to you about, something you said back in, 2014? And that's when you say, thank you. Yes, I will. I'd be more than happy to. Even if you receive nothing for what that other person who did get the attorney. But it shows that justice might be slow, but you have to, you have to stand and you have to maintain. And I want to leave you with this, which is out of local news 4 in Detroit, Michigan. And this woman's name is Glenn Parks. And Glenn, condolences on your loss, and so much respect on your position, on your persistence, that you continue to follow a lead that you felt strongly about, and you were able, where this woman was able to gather the evidence on her own without any help. This woman literally gathered all the evidence, where she would do stakeouts, she would look for evidence in the area of where things were, which in fact ended up where, which is a sad story, where she ended up finding, her loved one. and her loved one was deceased, and it was all over child custody. And so it shows that, thank you. Before I go further, I want to say thank you, Glenn Parks, and I'm happy to share your story, because for people out there who are going through things, it shows us never to give up, and that, sometimes we have to be willing to, go all out for, justice, and to, suffer it alone. Because again, you had to go through this alone, but, I'm so sorry that, that it wasn't it wasn't the result that you would have wanted. But now to go to you, the viewer, and what we're talking about today, about the power of a voice and how change begins. We have to understand that, people that are, in these jobs, people that, they understand what's going on. Not everybody is in agreement. It's almost like, where I've never sat back to say all police are bad or all politicians are bad and corrupt. They're not. They're in a position where it's a compromise. So when they have to deal with the elephant in the room, and that elephant says that, hey, you have to stand with us, whether we're right or whether we're wrong. And we know from, what whistleblowers go through. When a whistleblower goes through something, they get treated in a worse way than we, the victims. And that's not to excuse that type of behavior in any field where people are being taken advantage of. But it's to say that we understand. But it is our voice, and our voice has to continue to speak where, we have been done unjustly. We understand that there are going to be cover-ups, there are going to be doors, we may be lied to, but it's not to say that, all the people on that school board are bad, because they did do something when they finally found out about it. So what I want to leave you with, people, that when you go through things in life, stand. And you have to realize that you're not alone, that all these situations that were presented today are different situations where power and control took hold. But as you can see, even though it took time, it took years for, these things to happen, justice is finally being served on those people. And, people who supported them are going to be held accountable as well. So this is my encouragement to you, because you're my encouragement. You are encouragement to me, for me to, continue to be the best person that I can be in the face of all that we face on, in our everyday lives. And with that, everyone, have the most beautiful day, have an awesome day, and peace and blessings.